If I have to hear that recruiting doesn't matter one more time, I might lose my mind. I might lose my mind because if you watch the NFL draft this past weekend, you know that that narrative is dead. It is gone. It should not be brought up. And I know a lot of you are not super thrilled with where college football is going, right? There are recruits who are picking money over development. There are guys that have been leaning Georgia's way who at the last minute either flip or sign somewhere else, like Justice Terry, yada, yada, yada. I get all that, but recruiting absolutely still matters, and you should still follow it. And I'm not saying that just because I cover recruiting and it's what I mostly write and talk about between now and fall practice. I'm saying it because it's the truth. Kirby Smart has said multiple times, actually over and over and over again, we want to build our program through high school. We will occasionally go to the transfer portal to pick up guys that can help us out and, address needs here and there. But they want to build their program from high school. And you saw it in the NFL draft. The Dogs had 13 players selected. 11 of those 13 were guys that they signed out of high school, kept in the program, helped them win national championships. Some of them two, some of them one. And then they went off to the NFL. Michael Williams, a guy they signed out of high school, 3 and out, off to the NFL. Same with Jalen Walker, 3 and out, off to the NFL. Malachi Starks, 3 and out, off to the NFL. Those guys were first-round picks, didn't transfer to Georgia, didn't transfer out of Georgia, and stayed there the entire time. Out of high school, in the program for 3 years, off to the NFL first-round pick. That's what Kirby Smart wants to do. That's the pitch that he sells to recruits, right? He tells them, hey, in some instances, yeah, if you're looking for a check, if you're looking for that one-time check to sign with a team, probably not going to be us, okay? Here's what we can do for you, but we're here to offer you the big check, the NFL check, right? And it worked for a lot of guys. It's going to continue to work for a lot of guys. That's their pitch. And I know for a fact that some of these Georgia coaches are not thrilled with some of their top targets being like, okay, this is all great. I get what you can do for me. How big of a check can you write me? How big of a check can you write me? And I know college football fans hate that. I know Georgia fans hate that. But still, recruiting still matters. That's why they are in the helicopter all across the state of Georgia and all across the country every chance they get. There's only specific times throughout the year where they can do that, and they bust their tail. Stacey Searles went to Hawaii to check on a top target that he might not get, right? But he still went out there because recruiting still matters. We talked about Michael Williams, Jalen Walker, Malachi Starks. Not only were those guys good players, but they were good leaders. They loved Georgia, and they signed with Georgia out of high school for a reason, became big-time players, became leaders, and went off to the NFL. Tate Ratledge, same thing. He was a 5-star guy from the state of Georgia. They signed him. They developed him. He became a team captain, a leader, went off to the NFL. Dylan Fairchild, same deal. They recruited him, developed him, got him to the NFL. Jared Wilson, same deal. Signed him out of North Carolina. He patiently waited his turn, got better and better as he waited. Only started 1 year, and then is off to the NFL. He got picked. Arian Smith could have transferred, but he didn't, and he's better because of it. He learned and grew as a player. He did. He had his drops, but he grew as a player, had his best year at Georgia this past year in his final season, right? Off to the NFL. Smile Munden, 5-star guy from the state of Georgia, Paulding County. I remember I got some great shots of him at a Paulding County practice, went to go watch him play. He was a big, big deal. They signed him. He played a lot, got better, and was one of the better players on the team when he was healthy. He had his best game against Georgia Tech at the end of last season. Had like 12, 13 tackles. The guy got better. He's off to the NFL. Warren Brinson, same deal. Ty Ingram Dawkins, 5-star they got from South Carolina. He could have left. He could have bailed. He could have transferred at any point when he wasn't getting the playing time that he thought he wanted. But he knew that the staff was making him a better player. And then when he was on the field last year, he made a lot of plays. He's off to the NFL. Dan Jackson, not a guy that they signed out of high school, through scholarship. He was a walk-on. No one gave him a shot, but Georgia. He walked on at Georgia, earned his playing time, made play after play after play, heat-seeking missile, picked off 4 or 5 passes in his career, wasn't invited to the NFL Combine. Doesn't matter. He was picked. So, they want to identify these guys early and keep them around. They want retention. That's the word that Kirby Smart used time after time after time. Retention. It's a revolving door right now, and he's not thrilled with it. He doesn't like all of these new faces coming in, coming out. Those are guys that are here for the first time this past spring. He was talking about how many new guys there are who have to learn the practice habits, who have to learn the standard at Georgia, who have to learn how to practice the right way, and the effort and the competitive drive that you have to play at Georgia. He wants those guys out of high school to come in early and learn that so they are better as a sophomore and a junior and sometimes as a senior, right? They get better and better and better because they're used to how the program is run, and they're used to practicing to a standard and earning the playing time and being, Georgia tough, that fire, that passion, that energy. He wants that out of high school, right? And again, 11 of the 13 were at Georgia the entire time, and that goes back to recruiting. That's why recruiting still matters. I'm trying to tell y'all how good Michael Williams and Malachi Starks and Jalen Walker were at the high school level, right? You don't want to be the Georgia fan that's watching the team in the fall saying, who is that freshman? Who's that freshman? Your buddy next to you is going to be like, yo, Matt DeBerry's been writing about this guy for years now. How do you not know who that is? I follow recruiting. You got to follow recruiting too. You got to know who these players are, right? And sometimes it's not going to work out, and someone might pick another school because it's a bigger check. Sometimes guys flip when they're committed. So I totally understand how you're not super jazzed or excited when Georgia gets a commitment in the spring, right? Because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's something to halfway follow and be interested in. I get that, because you still need to know who these players are, and you'll know who that player is, at the wherever they end up. And if they end up being on your favorite NFL team, you kind of know about the guy, right? But it still matters. It's still important. And I still think that if you're a 5-star Georgia fan, you follow recruiting. Yes, there are ups and there are downs. It is a roller coaster. Trust me, I cover it. And I've spent a lot of time and resources covering kids who almost pick Georgia or do pick Georgia, then they flip somewhere at the last minute. So I get frustrated too, because that feels like it's time wasted. I got 2 young kids. I can't be wasting time and energy and resources. But it's part of the job. And it's part of the job as the fan, right? If you live and breathe and die for Georgia football, maybe not die. I don't know how many are dying for Georgia football in a realistic way, right? But sure, right? You got to go through the ups and downs too, with the coaches and with me. I'm on this journey with you, right? I'm trying to cover recruiting and tell y'all everything you need to know, right? And listen, there's not going to be a whole lot of team news between now and August. If there's breaking team news, it's bad. Someone got hurt or someone got arrested, right? That's the breaking news that you're going to get on the team side. What else are you going to read, right? You're going to read about recruiting. There's some big-time visits coming up. Georgia is, a lot of people think they're trending with the #1 player in the country. I got an update to write probably later today on that. 5-star Jared Curtis, a program-changing quarterback. Now, Georgia's already a top program in the country. They don't need a quarterback to make them a top program. But if you were to go pretty much anywhere else, it would be a program-changing type of deal, right? He's got Georgia and Oregon in his top 2, right? And would it sting if those 2 guys went elsewhere? Yeah, of course. And as a fan, I'm sure you're going to be disappointed. But it's still a fun roller coaster. It's still fun to follow the journey and learn about these kids. Visits are coming up, official visits, commitments. There's going to be a lot of recruiting news, a lot of recruiting updates this summer. Not a ton of good team news, but there's going to be loads of recruiting information in here. If you're a 5-star Georgia fan, you got to be on top of it. You got to follow it. If you're the ultimate Dawg fan, you still follow recruiting, right? There's some good, there's some bad, but what else are you going to do? It's the summer, right? The content's still got to flow, and we want y'all over on Dawg Post, and we need y'all supporting us through YouTube. We love our YouTube audience, but we want to get y'all over on the website. That's where the latest team and recruiting news is, and we're going to be pumping out a lot of content. So there's stuff to write about, there's stuff to learn, there's stuff to follow. I'm telling you right now, but the narrative that recruiting doesn't matter, recruiting's dead, it's over. It's over. It's nonsense. Recruiting still matters. That's how you build a championship team. Kirby Smart knows it. I know it, and I want y'all to know it as well. So thanks for watching. Really hope you appreciate what we do, especially on the recruiting side, because I know things are different. Things are different, and sometimes it's not for the better, but still got to follow recruiting if you're a five-star Georgia fan. Five-star Georgia fans are on Dawg Post, by the way. They're over on the website. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. I'll see you on the next video.